Hello, I'm Peter Kirkwood, and we're here to talk today about how to accelerate your corporate growth. Every exciting company has a lot of opportunities, and that's really exhilarating. But it also brings two strategic challenges. First is that the broader your options are, the more uncertainty you have. Getting the entire company and your board of directors aligned behind what you're doing and why is difficult. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of anxiety about making the right decisions and being sure that you put your bets where they can do the most good. Second, you're too busy to do it all. The more opportunities you have, the more tempting it is to try to cover everything. This keeps putting more burden on the teams you're asking to execute on this and more time drain from the executive team. They can't focus on doing everything right at the same time. My specialty is helping enterprise technology companies maximize their growth plan. This approach can help growth anywhere from startups in new markets to market leaders in flat segments. Done right, your strategy process can actually reduce the time you spend on overhead. This doesn't need to be more work for people once it's running and can really reduce the bandwidth demands on your teams and especially on your executives. It is hard to say no to an exciting idea and even harder to stop work on current projects. It's human nature to want to say yes and to feel that that's how you get more done. But you all know that doing too much at once slows down the whole organization. There's too many status meetings, too many bottlenecks or resource conflicts, and delays for gates and approvals. A company can only have one top priority. One example I had was that we put a Tiger team on an exciting new market in the aviation space. We developed a plan, got it fully approved, and then it fell flat. The resources just weren't there to execute. And in the 6 months it took to get a sales team on it to execute, the market had passed us by. Another company moved in, got there first, and had the references. The company that I was with couldn't claw their way back in after that. All the effort coming up with that plan and all those approvals, the executive time reviewing it all, was wasted. You can do better. Tightening your focus helps you get to market faster on the things you want. It reduces risk, both competitive risk of other people moving faster and execution risk that your organization will miss something important because it's pulled in too many directions. The investment you save is more than just money. It's the bandwidth of your A players. You want them on what's most important, not something that's going to get lost later. By doing fewer things at once, you move each of them faster. That's more than just time to market. It also improves agility because you're not waiting till a year-end review to see what's next. If you can execute a project in 6 months or 9 months instead of a year, then you're able to look around and say, what's the next project we want to do based on the truth at that time? And most importantly, this frees executive bandwidth. Executive time is a critical resource for the whole organization. And if it's being pulled in too many directions, none of those teams are living up to their potential. The most efficient way to set your decision criteria is to build a rubric. There's a lot of factors you can put in there, from risk and investment to the financials of the opportunity, the growth and the market size, to strategic alignment. I like to roll this up into 2 or 3 top-level categories, but there can be a lot of subpoints in there depending on what's important to you and how you want to weight that. Some of this is hard data, some is a consensus of experts, but it can be done with existing resources for the first triage. If you need to dive down deeper and buy market research, that may be okay for the top couple, but in order to move fast and be efficient about this, you can do this internally in under 3 weeks. The benefits of this really help structure the way you debate which project's more important. If people don't agree with the raw output of this, you've got a great framework for how to debate if things need to be moved up or down. Having a criteria means you can get buy-in within the executive team, among all the employees, and the board members that you report to, because you can explain why you chose what you did. It wasn't just instinct or personal opinion. This also helps you react faster to market shifts. Because the criteria are laid out, if you learn something new, you know what aligns with something important for that decision. It may make something much more attractive or much less, but you'll spot that and know what it means faster. One thing that's important is that this does not need to stifle growth. This can really accelerate it because employees that hand over an idea and it just doesn't go anywhere find it very frustrating. When they understand the criteria, how it was assessed, why it was prioritized where it was, and that you've got an active pipeline that will move these forward at the right time in the right priority, people feel there's progress being made. That's much more rewarding and can encourage more innovation while you're focusing your effort on the things at the top of your priority list. The goal is to succeed faster, not just move faster. Looking back on your results after you launch a project or at the end of the year is not the fastest path. Some projects look great at first, but as you dive in, you're going to learn more. And a rubric shows you what attributes you're looking for, what those assumptions that made you want to prioritize this are. A project may need a minor change, or you may learn that the fastest path to get to success is to defer one and move to the next priority on your list. That's how you mitigate the risk of not pushing forward a lot of initiatives at once. You can put this in place in under a month and see what's working for you sooner than the year-end results. That's a big acceleration. Quick tests do take a little bit of time to implement, but save so much more effort later. One example is a quick advertising test we did for a new product. Before the product existed, we were just testing messaging to a consumer audience. We learned two important things. One was a more accurate concept of what the adoption rate would be for marketing, so that we knew how to budget and how to forecast our revenue. We also got a 20x increase in click-through rate by iterating that test a little bit before the product was available. That way, when the money and time went into the actual launch plan, it was based on knowledge. Once your growth strategy is tuned, it's time to look forward. An annual review process is not agile enough, but you also don't want to keep second guessing your decisions. That's just a drain on your bandwidth. A good market model is the solution. This highlights what news is important to the decisions you've made and helps set triggers for when to reassess priorities. At one company, I predicted a 30% surge in customer volume to our enterprise clients due to a legislative change. So we shifted and offered 4 new solutions targeting that customer service capacity problem. Being ahead of the problem built customer loyalty and generated millions in incremental revenue. Predicting and quantifying the COVID impact quickly was huge to helping a company scale down their supply chain and staffing to weather that crisis. There's also long-term benefits. Knowing where to innovate. When you see multiple macro trends coming together, that's where there's exciting opportunities. That's where you want to focus your technology investment and your innovation. Crowdsourcing ideas to your employees is great, but if you can explain to employees which ideas are most useful for you, that's where they'll focus their attention. The other side of that is when to invest. Some things we all know are happening. Digital transformation, moving to the cloud, but not all customers are going to do it at the same time. And getting that timing right is something that should be tracked over time. To wrap up, you can improve your strategic focus in 1 month and move faster by doing less at once. You'll get to all those projects, but you can get there faster by succeeding on some first and then tackling the next one sooner. Let me show you how this will accelerate your growth and free executive bandwidth. We can model this in as little as 20 minutes on a phone call. If you'd like to discuss this, please reach out and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.